out of options. So I just skipped the lease for December. So no, the landlord was never paid. And then when people started to accuse me of fraud, I lied to everybody.
My original video, I point this out, that he decided to start this campaign based on nothing but guilt by association.
When you get buried in a lie like that, just because you didn't want to ask for more.
UNIRock took that philosophy and ran with it. And he ran with it so fucking hard and so fucking far.
Some people are saying I'm doing this just because I got caught.
Shoving his shit right back up his ass, and having this hangout clarifying a bunch of bullshit that has been said after the fact.
And that's not entirely inaccurate.
UNIRock needs to learn to control himself when it comes to his hate boner for certain people. You using your hatred as some sort of justification to attack us just shows that you are completely missing the mark here.
At least good enough for me as to where I just didn't want to beg for more fucking money. Because it was already established historically that if I needed something or if I was in trouble, people would jump forward, and I just didn't like that.
And the decisions that we have made, like being honest about the help that we need, being transparent whenever we have a fundraiser, we stand by those decisions. We stand by our decision to ask for help when we needed it. We stand by our decision to be honest the entire way through it. And we stand by our decision to thank those who have helped out. And we stand by our decision to call you out on your bullshit when you decide to go out of your way to demonize us.
So I'm sorry to everybody, but I just can't do it anymore.
Since my last video titled, 2 YouTubers Steal $10,000 from a Fundraiser and have done many more, the people involved came out to admit that I was right all along and also apologize. They didn't tell the truth though. They didn't admit what they did wrong and also managed to say that it was my fault that they lied the whole time because they said if somebody else would have called them out, they would have told the truth. Also, Sean, the one who needed the money, claimed that if I wouldn't have blocked him, he would have told me the truth long ago. This is all deflection and blaming criticizers, which has been their tactic all along. He could have just uploaded a video addressed to me instead of coming to me, but this isn't the only thing they lied about in that stream. They also tried to claim the fundraiser was not fraudulent, but mismanaged. They tried to pull off this lie by leaving out the fact that Sean never needed 10 months of rent to pay his landlord.
So it was shocking when we found this. This is the eviction that Sean Hufford said he was trying to avoid. Here's his name, Sean Hufford, December 19th, 2019. And the landlord is suing him for rent not being paid. $6,000. Now, since the landlord is suing Sean for not paying the rent, the landlord had to include the lease agreement within the filing. Here is Sean Hufford's name as one of the parties to the lease agreement. Again, these are from the court documents. The term of Sean Hufford's lease starts on September 1st, 2019. His rent is $765. He signed this lease on June 26, 2019. And this lease even has a buyout provision that gives you the right to buy out the lease early. And to do that, you have to pay $1,500. And here's Sean Hufford's signature acknowledging that fact. So Sean Hufford had a fundraiser on August 23rd to pay off the remainder of his lease. The lease ended 8 days later. Now don't get confused because the new lease started in September. Remember, we saw that in the actual lease. Now, even if Sean wanted to pay off this new lease, he could buy it out for $1,500. Now, if you think about it, his rent was only $765, so that means he could buy out his lease for about 2 months' rent.
You'll have to watch part 1 in order to understand all of this, but that's right, Sean didn't need 10 months of rent. Like I've said this whole time, he only had 9 days left on his lease. Why didn't they mention this in that stream? Because the entire stream was Sean trying to create the lie that it was all him, lying to his friends, and that his friends didn't know that he'd done this until the day before. This is provably not true. The whole time I was telling them these facts, though they need their audience to believe that Sean had 10 months on his lease instead of the truth, 9 days, so they could get Red's rhetoric out of the lie that he'd been telling for over a year. Red's said many times, and I even played him saying this once on my last stream, that he checked the lease, and because he did, he knew that UNIRock was lying. He just couldn't show you the lease because it would dox Sean. Reds wasn't the only person who told this lie for over a year. Some of their other friends had also. I'll include them all in my next video. The truth is, this video is the intro, and the last one was a prequel. The full video on this has taken a very long time, so it will be out sometime after this video. Back to the point, if Sean and Reds could convince their audience that the fundraiser was only mismanaged by lying about Sean having only 9 days left on his lease and claiming he had 10 months, then they could convince the audience not to go to authorities, which is exactly what they did. They deleted anybody from the live chat who brought up the 9 days and also the buyout clause that Sean had. The buyout clause was a separate paper that Sean had to sign so that the landlord could prove Sean read the buyout clause. At any time, no matter how many months Sean had on his lease, he could have bought it out for just $1,500. 2 months. They deleted anyone who brought this up, but they also deleted anyone that told people to report this to the authorities. The entire lie stream was done so that Reds could offer refunds, which he did. It would prevent people from reporting this to PayPal and the FBI, but he didn't even offer the refunds because on Twitter, his friends donated money to him to cover any refunds that might be asked for, and Reds encouraged them to do this. So that means the donators are going to refund the other conned donators. The conned refunding those from the previous con. We know that the $10,000 number was asked for based on a complete lie. So the fundraiser was completely fraudulent. There's no argument to this. Also, with the buyout clause, they couldn't ask for $10,000. So it was a complete fraudulent fundraiser just with that point. And we know Reds backed Sean this whole time, which makes him fully responsible for it. Why wasn't Reds angry at Sean at all? Reds will scream and yell like the keyboard warrior that he is at anybody, anyone, especially debunking flatties and yelling at an old YouTuber for stealing money by not paying Red's friend. He yelled at him in constant live streams over a year and still does to this day, but he let Sean off the hook completely. Why? It's simple. Because if you let Sean off the hook, taking Red's lead, you'll also let Reds off the hook. Another lie was told, that Reds wasn't doing any more fundraisers. He said it a few times and mostly added in on his platform when he said it. Though he did say it many times without saying on his platform. So why did Reds go to a live stream the other night and talk about doing more fundraisers and how they were going to accomplish it by accounting, by making sure people had an accounting? I thought he said all of his fundraisers were accounted. Also, listen to what he said in that stream here.
My donation was a gift for Sean to do as he pleased. That's the true intention of a gift. If he wanted to take the $20 bill and light a match to it, good, it's his $20 bill. Thank you, first of all, and I'm just a little bit irritated that more people don't think like you do.
He said that Sean should be able to burn the money he takes for charities. I know that he was reading from the live chat, but he agreed with the comment and said he wished many more people would also believe this. He said that Sean should be able to burn the money that he takes for charities and fundraisers, even if it's to give it to a landlord that Sean owes money to. This makes Reds what we call a sovereign citizen, just like any other theorist, because the money wasn't Sean's, it was the landlord's. So we know it isn't true. It's against all the laws around these things, just like sovereign citizens go against. If you took $50,000 for Children's Hospital and then burnt it, you would be burning Children's Hospital's money, and Reds knows this, but he has always lied to his audience. It was revealed that not long ago he called another YouTuber's job and got him fired by harassing him. His name was G-Man. He also then crowdstruck the YouTuber's GoFundMe campaign that was going to be used for the bill since he didn't have a job, and he got that GoFundMe taken down, ironically. Reds admitted to this and gave a fake apology. Reds, Rhetoric, and his friends have done this throughout their entire YouTube career. And in my full video on this topic, you will see everything that they've done. But I want you to focus on one thing until then. Regardless if Reds was going to yell at Sean or get mad at him, Reds should have asked Sean for one thing. If he wasn't completely involved, which he provably is. He would have had to ask Sean to account for every fundraiser where they took the money into Sean's account. Because if Reds didn't know that Sean was keeping this money, he would now be worried that Sean pulled this on the other fundraisers, seeing as how Reds and Sean have taken many fundraisers into Sean's PayPal, including his last fundraiser for his friend Bull passing. They haven't accounted for the money they took in on PayPal in that fundraiser either. But Reds is always known when Sean kept money. He has access to Sean's PayPal account.
And why doesn't Reds open up another PayPal labeled Reds Rhetoric?
Because everything is already linked the way it needs to be linked, and this process seems to work just fine. It's just that UNIRock is the only person that seems to have a problem with it.
This shows you the real reason Reds isn't going nuts on Sean. It's because he wants to lead his donators to not get mad at Sean, to keep secret all of their lies and cons. My next video will document them all. Also, anyone who donated to any of their fundraisers should be going to those platforms like GoFundMe or PayPal, filing with them and filing with the FBI and filing with the authorities in Elkhart, Indiana, because you can't do this to people. It's just wrong. They know this. They've called out other people for less things. Have you seen any of the other people in their community talk about this at all? Just one person, Team Skeptic. So keep that in mind before you want to donate to any of these other people. They won't even let you know, like on their community tab or anything, when they've been supporting YouTubers that do this stuff. I will say Team Skeptic, Simon Dan, and Conspiracy Cats are exempt from that. The rest of this video will be my original criticism. I'll start it in just a second. My original criticism, by the way, they lied about, and if you listen to it, it is 100% on point, other than the number values for the money. That's been updated. This image that you're looking at, it proves that Sean Hufford gave Reds Rhetoric money out of the $10,000 fraudulent fundraiser. Their original narrative was that Sean owed Reds money and had to pay him right after the fraudulent fundraiser. Well, now we know that there was a payment to Reds because Sean may have changed his story now, but we remember, we have the proof of what Sean was saying early on. Why didn't Reds and Sean bring this up when they were, quote, being honest about the fundraiser? Why would Sean give Reds a payment after the $10,000 fundraiser now that we know it was entirely fraudulent? I think I know what that payment was for. You know what that payment was for. But that's for my next video. So now I will play my original criticism against Reds. He strawmanned and lied about the entire thing.
Listening now, if you're able to help out Sean, because he's been in a dire
Absolutely.
situation. If like everyone that subscribed to all of us just like donated £1 or $1, then he'd be sorted and we could get him located.
Yeah, people are asking in chat. Essentially, Sean Hufford has gotten himself into a little bit of a financial strain, and we're trying to raise. I think our stretch goal is 10 grand.
Yeah.
So we can get him not just in a situation where he is out financially, but also we want to relocate him so he can get to a place because he's being discriminated against, so he's having trouble finding work. So we want to move to a
I
place
was
where
more
we
than
know
happy
he
to
can
donate
get-
to that. That's
Yeah,
something that,
Yeah, I'm donating. I don't have money. I'm an artist. I don't.
oh wait.
So I'm donating my body.
Okay, I didn't know that. I donated nudes.
I'm pretty sure my donation is
All they
essentially if we reach high enough in the tier goal. I just don't know what the tier levels are. If we reach high enough in the tier goal, I believe I'm doing a bikini shoot.
Nice. If we reach high enough, I'll do a bikini.
But
I'll actually grab the link for Sean and put it in the chat if that's okay with you, Steve.
yeah, of course. Okay, real quick. If you want to donate to Sean, there's a link to do
in the
it.
chat for anybody who wants to donate there. That I think that's going to be going for some time. I think it's 4 months that'll be up for.
I know that like the amounts that we've been talking about, it seems like a lot, but it's not just for nothing. Sean has to pay out his current lease that he has before he's able to actually move, otherwise he'll end up getting sued for that. And we're trying. He's got a job offer waiting for him, so if we can relocate him to that place where he's got that job waiting, then that's Sean sorted.
We're not just trying to get him out of his current little bit of a financial predicament, but we're trying to get him relocated so it won't happen again.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if we would just give him enough to pay for his rent for the next couple of months, in a couple months he's fucked again. So we're trying to avoid that.
Yeah.
And he does a lot for the community, so it's nice to be able to give back.
Yes.
And also, hey, if you want to see bikini shots, top 10
I'm
anime
not judging.
betrayals.
We all have our kinks.
Teppo Tilupi in the chat has asked me to sell my bath water.
Oh my god, they're telling me to. Listen, I will absolutely sell you my bathwater if you can pal me 10 grand.
What do you think I'm
right
drinking
it's all
now?
yours.
Yeah.
I will also sell Chesh's bathwater if you'll send me 10 grand.
Yeah. Hey, I'll get in on that action.
You gotta admit that.
I believe, however, for my bikini shoot, if that does end up happening, I believe we're making it public for everybody if we reach that goal. So it's not just going to be the people who donated. You'll actually be able to help out a friend.
And that's one thing I do love about the community is that when Reds needed stuff, people rally together. When Sean needs stuff, people rally together.
Are you gonna?
Red Eye, oh goody, Chesh is a Twitch thought. Listen, I can dream. I just want the
She's
money.
not good enough at games.
I just want the
She's
money.
not good enough at games. Would be a Twitch thought.
Really good idea. Somebody said I could probably get 10 grand for farts. So could I put farts in a bottle and sell it?
Ooh.
Hey guys.
Bottle and sell it?
Ooh.
Hey guys.
What is the easiest thing that you can do on the YouTube landscape? Debunk flat earthers? Yeah, and it's fun, too. You can have a ball debunking flatties online. We've all done it once or twice, haven't we, Busy? Yeah. What happens when the debunkers themselves end up scamming their community? Oh no! Would the other debunkers call them out? Can they call out their own? Or is there an unwritten rule that flatty debunkers have to keep their mouths shut? Well, except for when the flatties do it. An interesting thing has happened recently. Red's Rhetoric and Steve McRae came under fire for some of the lies they told about the non sequitur show breaking up. So, those that had donated to Steve and Reds decided to look closer at the fundraisers that they had. Like the Christmas fundraiser Steve did that ended up being predicated on a lie. That's right, Busy. Predicated on a lie. Predicated on a lie. Predicated on a lie. After Steve stole Christmas with the scam fundraiser, he became known as the Grinch. And everybody knows that a Grinch doesn't just steal Christmas. So a group of rogue donators went off on their own and started archiving the streams, where McRae, Red's Rhetoric, Sean Hufford, and AT2 Pro Doxing asked for money. They added that money up, kept track of whether or not they kept their word with what they took the money for, and people started thinking, is it okay that this very small group of creators have asked their community for over $100,000 in the last few months? Is it okay that out of that $100,000, the fundraisers earned somewhere around $50,000? Is it okay that Red's Rhetoric's fundraiser for Sean Hufford that raised thousands and thousands of dollars had its money stolen? Psh, yeah, right. And had to do another fundraiser afterwards where they changed the goal to something completely different just to suit what their friends needed money for? These questions have been rumbling through the community in the back alley of dark Discord servers and dusty Google Hangouts for weeks and even months. This has started the conversation. Shut up, crackhead. We don't know what you're saying. This conversation is a long time coming, and it's good that this conversation is happening. After this became an issue, Reds went live asking for $500 for a camera part. The way he took the money was intriguing. That's right, intriguing, since people can't understand you because of how much crack you smoke, making you mumble constantly. All the heat of the last few months has mostly went toward Sean Hufford. He constantly asks for money from the community because he knows Steve McRae and Red's Rhetoric. I mean, he doesn't do content is what I'm saying. He just knows them. At any given time, he's running a collection that continues through the months, but then we'll have campaigns that are pushed on different channels in the community to take in upwards of thousands of dollars at a time while still having the long-running campaign going. This is very interesting because the day after this all blew up, like I stated, Reds asked for the $500. And whose PayPal account do you think he put up on the screen to take the money from the good people? None other than Sean Hufford's PayPal. Sean Hufford's PayPal? I don't know what you said, crackface. So a lot of questions started getting asked. Why Sean Hufford's PayPal when Reds was needing the money? Why did Sean buy the camera and send it to Reds? Why did Sean keep the money that went over the goal? Why is it that every single month Sean Hufford pops up with Steve McRae, Red's Rhetoric, and AT2 Pro Doxing asking for money from this community? Everyone who isn't a grade school level ding-dong already knows that they did it this way on purpose. Sean was having a hissy fit on Twitter while I was streaming about this issue after he was kicked out of the live chat, and his girlfriend, that just happens to be Psystrike's daughter, also had a meltdown. Reds did the camera fundraiser to basically give a middle finger to the people who were angry about the amount of money that these guys had been asking for. Reds trolled those people who had donated that were asking these questions. A total of $100,000 requested and easily $50,000 gained from this group. And if these campaigns are on the up and up, why can't they answer the community's issues instead of trolling and running kiddie games? Well, it's pretty obvious if you ask me. These guys have been making less and less money since Non Sequitur blew up long ago, and since they blame Kyle for the breakup of the show, they don't see it as an issue to hit their community harder than a cash register of a 7-Eleven at 1 a.m. after the government paychecks hit. I know all about that. We know you do. Somehow they think that they are above criticism, which is ironic, realizing that the only reason they ever gained the followers in the first place was due to them criticizing people for their religious belief and their strange thoughts about the shape of the earth, which, by the way, you do not have to be an expert to do this. This is grade school level science and math. So do any of the flat earthers care? Are they going to bring up this spreadsheet and start giving their opinion on these guys? These are the same guys who have been insulting them with their DFOTY awards every year, calling them dumb Fs. Which, you know, I don't disagree that some of them are dumb Fs. That's not the issue, though. How do these guys keep criticizing flatties and religious nutsos when they themselves are doing something worse than most flatties and most nutsos? The level of fundraising here rivals even most local fundraisers for homeless children, for people with medical issues, for people that have had their houses burned down or a family member pass away. These guys have taken in a mammoth amount of money. I could look at their content, but this was supposed to be a quick video. Well, let's do it anyway. Hell, I don't have anything better to do. Red's Rhetoric does around 4 to 5 videos, average a month, as you see here on his channel. Very strange. You'd think with the amount of money he has his hand in taking, Reds would be running the channel full time. You know, actually doing something. What you don't see here is that he isn't mostly a Red Rocket channel like he likes to pretend. He unlists legions of drama-based streams where he shuts the door to anyone but his best buddies to come in, pokes and prods like he's better than everybody else while holding his hand out with a violin playing a sob story in about every other one. Steve McRae is by definition a drama channel. He LARPs, which is live action role plays, as a philosopher. But if you look into any of his opinions on those topics, you'll find out that not even the other small philosophers of YouTube do anything but laugh at his take on things due to him being a flat earther of philosophy. He just argues semantics. That's it. Sean Hufford is a video game streamer, but not full-time. He only pops on here and there to upload a game stream to his channel, I guess whenever he gets his PlayStation out of the local pawn shop. So now that you see that this isn't a group of famous people raising money for charity, or asking the audience to help them do something that relates to the content that they will produce, like most streamers and content creators do. I mean, we are going to have to start discussing some, like, really heavy topics here if I don't stop typing this out soon. But in all reality, I haven't even touched upon the effect that this has on the community at large. For any community, there is only so much money that can be donated, or that people will be willing to donate. No one here is rich and famous, unless maybe there's one celebrity out there watching, I don't know, but the donators are all real people with jobs, families, and obligations that are good enough to help out when somebody they like asks for some help. Factoring in the massive amount that Reds, Steve, and Sean have asked for, and the massive amount they received, let alone what they make from regular donations and revenue, it saps the community for any time an emergency may come up, or some legit event happens that needs a fundraiser and is in the community around these scammers. Also, the more that they ask, the more it turns people away from donating in the end. If it is frivolous or handled poorly, and the recent camera mount troll fundraiser held by Reds was all of these things wrapped up in a pretty red bow, the people that watch these videos are smart. They are fine with content that has a focus on learning, and most times complicated topics. People notice when they see this kind of thing being abused like it has, and whether they mean to or not, it carries over onto the people that are around or work with or stream with these scammers. There isn't much of an argument to explain any of this. This is probably why they bring in one of their pals, AT2 Pro Doxing, to host most of the fundraisers. That way, if shit hits the philosophical fan, they can blame him. He does have a reputation of being a serial scammer, so in the end, what is my point? Well, this graph was done by people that have donated to these guys for years. They did it because they thought these guys were honest and upfront. A lot of people don't log into YouTube every day, and they don't have the time to check on whether or not these guys just ran a fundraiser on Psystrike's channel one day and on AT2 Pro Doxing's the next, before quickly running one on Red's channel and then bouncing over to McCrae's. The viewers simply are just scrolling down a list of videos aggregated to them through the YouTube algorithm and seeing that someone they check in on here and there are having a fundraiser. And they click in, donate a bit, and click out. Now that the community has started asking these questions, and instead of answering them, these ding-dongs have dodged these questions and played silly troll games. It is more than past the time for us to start considering the evidence, the same way that they would if this information had come out about a flat earther. To ask the relevant questions with the same fire and criticism that we would for a flat earther that was doing this. And demand the answers, the proof, and the reasoning for why that this is acceptable, and why these guys are just scamming their community after the trend that they had surfed on for so long started to die down. Every Flat Earth channel that has bumped into these scammers should talk about this if they're smart. Every debunker that has ever said anything about a flatty doing this kind of thing now is bound to talk about this or be exposed as complicit. And if these guys are what they present themselves to be, they would not only step up to the plate and to go through every fundraiser and discuss it, but also show the proof that they spent the money on what they promised that they did. Because I'm sorry to say this, y'all, even if one of these fundraisers turned out to be fraudulent, that would be more than enough to make them worse than the people that they criticize. Hell, I don't know what I'm even saying. The sheer amount of money that these guys ask for repeatedly over and over already has done that.
Man, I wish I had that kind of money, UNIRock. I would have a lot of crap.
You would, Busy. You would.
I want some crack. I just need the crack.